Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back to Kit Car Direct and NK Sports Cars. Week 19, still in lockdown. Sun's beautiful shining out there. Hope you enjoyed VE Day yesterday. So if you had the opportunity to have the bank holiday off, then you were very fortunate. We was in doing some stuff yesterday. Bit of a part-time day yesterday, though, so the sun was out. So, yeah, hope you're enjoying it and you're getting on in your garages and doing your work on the upgrades on your cars. You know, the ordering system's still there, as we say. Phone lines, emails, still. Tap us up if you need anything at all. We try and help you as best we can. So, all the key workers, again, thank you. We're going to say it each week, but they're doing a glorious job. And we'll see what get announcements. It's Saturday afternoon. See what happens tomorrow and Sunday. See if there's any changes. And we'll hopefully be supporting that as well. So we're going to head out in the workshop, but I just thought to show you a couple of little products that we do that we've now got into stock. Some of the supply chains have been a little bit infrequent on deliveries, but we've got these back in stock now. A couple of things that you might be doing, upgrading, is mirrors. These are very lightweight mirror, actually, the ones that we do here. It's a little carbon. I'm on my own, so apologies, but it's a little carbon effect. That's a carbon effect mirror. They come in about 130 grams. They're extremely light if you're trying to light and weight, but they're convex glass, so it helps seeing in the rear and into the corners of the car. Nice little upgrade mirror. We do that in the carbon effect. They're in stock. Got about half a dozen, I think, of those in stock. And the same, if you've got our standard black ones, we've also do it in a carbon effect now. Hopefully you can see that, and Neil may pop up some links as well. These come in about 300 grams, I think it is, just under about 290 grams. But we've got both of those in stock. I think these are £69.98 for this style of mirror, and the lightweight ones, even they're cheaper, about just under 50 quid, 49.99 if I remember rightly. We've got the carbon ones in stock, but a nice little lightweight upgrade, and actually really good on track because you get a nice little side vision out of them. So if you're looking for some mirrors and stuff like that, and you're upgrading your garage, you think you want to have some time there, that's something for you, or give us a tap up. So we head out in the workshop, show what we've been up to, what I've been doing. I'm Saturday here on my own, so I'm going to apologise in advance for what we do, but we'll do our best for you. Right, so out in the workshop here, we spoke about this one. It's we call it the pallet car, because we've got a picture on our MK Sports Cars Official Owners Club. If you're not a member, look up there, hook it up now and join in. This is a car we've got on the sort of front page. Been having just doing some wiring changes and refresh on it on DigiDash. Some of the changes down, we're putting like a flat shifter system on down here, which we put in there as well, because this car is going to go. It's really a very track orientated car, so we're sort of doing subtle modifications to make it into a track focused car. So they've been working on that. We've got laser cut parts in here. These are fuel tanks. We've just got then hopefully to get them welded up very shortly, so laser cut parts in, and then we'll head on down here. Fiberglass deliveries still coming in, thankfully. A little bit slower than normal. Most companies, like yourselves probably, are on skeleton staff, so we've got fiberglass parts. These parts have got to go out and ship for Monday, and then we've got parts here that I've picked already that I'm going to be packing on Monday, which we've done steering modifications, shaft, one piece silencers with the bearing kits. We've been selling, I don't know why, we've had a massive run on these, which is our little gear levers that we do. These are Suzuki ones. You can tell it's a much coarser, if you can zoom in on that, it's a coarser thread, and then we do Hondas, Yamahas, and it's a much finer thread on there as well. So those we've got to ship out. Prop shafts and front wings, aero screens. Don't know why we've also had a run on wing stays that we're sending out. We do Cortina, Sierra, Mazda, and flat pack roll bar system we're sending out as well. So moving down here, DAX, no changes yet, waiting for parts to come in on that. And yeah, a little bit slow, so as soon as the niggly bits of parts that we're waiting for, we'll continue. But a different kind of car, the DAX, isn't it? Much wider, more aggressive looking in everybody's taste. But yeah, nice car. Booster turbo is down here. Not much changes. I did say last week it's come off the ramp now anyway, but not much changes because we're on with electrics and everything else. But it looks quite aggressive. Again, very nice with all the billet aluminium on it, as we said last week. So it's wiring and bits and bobs, but we're still waiting again. And I am waiting on parts on bits on this as well, unfortunately. So, yeah, move on to the next one. So the Indy OR booster build that we've started as well. This has moved to the sort of lift table here. They're very good actually, very handy if you're looking for something like that to work on your car. Extremely handy. Goes up, at least nearly just under a metre, but you can move them up and down. We've now moved this in. We've got it said last week, brake lines in, all fully secured, braided, hosed engines in, and we've also put on, I'll try and zoom in and do it if we can, but now we've put all the billet dry sump system is now on this. You have to remove certain things, which is thermostat. How in here we have to take all the thermostats out. We plug those off because we run the electric water pump, and then we put in, which you can see down here, new billet clutch and housing which drives off of that, and the pump system as well, all in as well. We've checked all the clutch, we redo all the clutch as well. Engine's very clean and tidy, so it's a low mileage engine anyway. New oil filters, etc. So that's all in. Just got to bolt it in really, but dry sump tank will sit in roughly this position. We then use clamps and that to hold that in. It's a 5-inch tank use. Very good and very well known. Prop shaft is in. This goes in very early. If you're a bike engine builder, make sure you put that in before you put your engine in, otherwise you will struggle to get it in now. So it's one of the first parts that does actually go in the build once you've done all the brake lines and fuel lines, which we've done here. You'll see going through to the back, and the floor pan's on, so that's been riveted on as well. Ready to go. So brake tee in, etc. And your Brady broke cases, these which we put in ready there for the wheelwoods. Fuel tank's done as well. We run the stock Gen 2 booster pump in this. This is a baffled tank in there with a 51mm hose, your breather, outlet, etc. And the pump sits in here. And then because it's the standard instrumentation, we use the float and the mechanism off it. And then we've got the diff here, which is running a 338 crown wheel and pinion on this for the booster. Gives it about 127 top end speed. And there's your billet paddle box. So yeah, very nice and coming along slowly but surely. And we'll keep you updated as we bolt parts on. I think we've got a rear end to do on bits and bobs. Those we bolt parts on this week. So moving on to the next car. So Indy RR, CBR 1000 RR. We've done a couple of bits on this week as well. Bits and bobs as it's coming in. First thing you'll probably notice is the exhaust system. We've cut all the hole out, mounted all the exhaust system, manifold at least. We're waiting for a carbon silencer. They've been selling well if you've been looking at those, and we showed you last week the carbon fibre silencers. We've just got to fit that on there as well now. Customers upgrading to that. So it looks nice and neat and tidy. We've also done the carbon bulkhead. That's all fitted, and all around the mechanisms we've mounted ready. The battery's got to go in, but we've got the battery here. We wrinkle painted the aluminium just to sort of blend it in really. Battery housing there, so having a lightweight battery in there as well. So that's sort of coming along as well. Engine, top of the airbox has just got to be fitted in there. There mechanism. This is for paddle shift that blinks down here as well, which is our sort of standard can horn style affair, which we've now fitted as well. The steering column as well is in for that. So yeah, that's kind of where we've been tinkering around with over the week, and we've had a couple of other projects come and go since then. We've had a low cost thing. We've had to do some gear leakage and reverse motors and things like that. So other projects as well that have come in. But hopefully you're going to now jump on and see a couple of customers with their own lockdown videos, and I'll catch you after that.
Hi, I'm from Bristol. I'm in a garage doing a bit of front end work. So I did a bit of modification to my suspension setup. I'm running Nissan front hubs, and my pickups for the wheel arches go over the McPherson strut, or the old McPherson strut mount on the upright. Well, I'm running these adapters that I've made up that bolt into the top wishbone that sits in the middle, and then I've locked the trailing arm off, and I made up a couple of years ago. I made up this part temporary prototype pickup for the suspension, just to make my Ackerman and my quick rack or rack ratio change. But because of doing that, I didn't have anywhere to mount my my mudguard to. So I've just modified and cut out a bit of a slot in there, and then braced it. Again, temporary, just to get something on there because I've got an MOT coming up in June, and then that should go over the top. A lot of people ask how you fit the mudguards. My option was to use tube all the way from the front to the back with the McPherson upright attachment. I'm not sure if you guys can do that on your Sierra based and MX5 based kits. And then I've welded a flat plate to the bar just because I like the idea of having the bar on the outside. And then I've used a DP410 glue sandwiched or mashed into the glass fibre, and then plenty of the glue around the metalwork on the glass fibre, and then clamped it all together, and that seems to have held well. If anything, it's made a little ripple on the very front. I'm not sure if you can see that in the light, but I guess where the suspension goes up and down and the mudguard's quite fixed, so perhaps a more rubbery tiger seal might help that if that was somebody's option in the future. But I'm using a Dax wheel arch, and they're quite rigid. I'm not sure how the other ones fare, but yeah. And just to show you what that looks like all fixed up, so I've got the McPherson adapters here with the upper ball joint spherical in here, my adapter on the side, what they used to do on the old Fords, I think, where you used to have bolt on, bolt off trailing arm adapters, or for different models of car they had different Ackerman fixings. I've got my brace in here because I've had to waste away some material inside, and yeah, that's what it looks like on the outside. The rim's nice and close to the arch, but far enough away that it doesn't rub too much on the bottom. It's the only place, and I can get the wheel off still if I need to. And I'm doing a bit of wiring on the kit car today. The car passed its IVA too long ago now, especially for the amount of driving I've done. But for the IVA test, you've got to pass a certain amount of, jump through a certain amount of hoops, and a certain amount of wiring or electronics on the car you want to have, and a certain amount that isn't necessary, but you might want to add later. So at this point, I've had a couple of additions to the car, and now I want to tidy all that up. Something that comes up in kit cars, a lot of sales and stuff, is always 95% done apart from the wiring. There's no reason the wiring is scary, especially for pre-CAN bus stuff, so the stuff that we're dealing with simple engines. Possibly the more modern motorbikes are going to go into CAN bus and that nowadays with the kit car community of our nature at least. But for the carburetor engines and even the injection engines, it's all pretty relatively easy. When you get something for an OE manufacturer that's come through with all the black and white lines on it, they're all colour coded for you pretty much, so the hard work's relatively been done for you as long as you're not colourblind. And there's really no reason that you can't have something that doesn't look like a rat's nest in your kit car. And following a couple of basic guidelines, which I know the guys at MK have gone through a couple of the wiring videos as well, there's no reason that even if you sell the car on, the people can't be left with something that's relatively easy to understand. You can even get away with some good, fairly professional or OE looking wiring fitments. So something with a bit of heat shrink on, even some named bands there, just so even if you take the wiring off, you know where the connectors have to go back to, and you don't have to go rummaging around your notes and try and find it. It's all written on the wires. To make something like that, obviously I'm going to wrap it up in either loom tape or a sheath. You can wrap it up in some nice sheathing. To make something like that is so easy now with things like eBay and the brilliant postal service that we got going on at the moment. And with a bit of time, if you've got a bit of time on your hands like now, you can just spend it making things nice and neat. And it's relatively easy. Use the proper gauge wire for the electronic application you're doing. A couple of simple blue and yellow red connectors. They look cheap, but if you then line them with a bit of glue lined heat shrink, your pre-written Dymo label printer, you can get for heat shrink as well, so something like that. A decent pair of crimpers. It's ideal to crimp your terminals rather than solder them just for vibration, and so a set of them. And those 3 or those 4 or 5 items can give you something that's, admittedly that's a small thing, that's not a whole loom, that's just an earth part of the loom, but that principle applied all around the car to as much or little as extent as you want to go to will really help tidy up your loom, and will really help you make a tidier job, in my opinion, of the looms and stuff in the kit cars. They don't have to be a rat's nest, as I've said. So start from your battery, work your way back, or start from a component and work your way back. And once that component's done, tick off the list and move on to the next one. It's really, really not that hard. Whilst you're going along, you can tape up wires. So use a bit of electrical tape just to tape 2 wires together, or 3, 4, until you start making a loom, and then you can withdraw that. But just a little bit. You don't need loads and loads and loads of it wrapped all over it, because it just ends up in a sticky mess in the future. So no one likes a sticky mess. So yeah, just make up your individual loom. Get some nice connectors. They're easily available off eBay, and if you follow loads of online instructions on YouTube and with, like I said, the MK lot, you should be able to make something that's relatively nice and OE looking for your kit cars. Good luck.
Okay, so that's it for week 19. Another week gone, flying by. The bank holidays, Stoney show would have all happened, and that's not happening until August, as we said. Hopefully, 29th and 30th. We'll be looking forward to that. Thanks to anybody who's sending in your videos. If you've got videos, send us the link in. We've got a downloadable area that we can post a link up to. If you're not already on the MK Sportscars Official Owners Club, join us up there. You can see what goes on. I'm sure there's loads of knowledgeable people out there, and also what's going on. And hopefully once the lockdown sort of releases a little bit, we can sort of have some meets and bits and bobs like that. That'd be fantastic to see you in person. Be MK Sportscars Official Owners Club on Facebook. Join up to that, and you'll see what goes on. Maybe some of the Instagram pictures and that we post, other than what we do on a weekly workshop walk. Get me words out. So yeah, stay safe, guys. You know where we are. Look us up on email, Facebook. Email and phone call is the best way. If you can buzz through to us, we always try to pick them up as soon as we come. But if you can be a little bit patient, we are working on skeleton stuff, as we said. So keep safe, guys. Thanks to all the key workers. Like, share. We know where we are. Catch you next week, guys.